Hello and welcome, my fab fans, to Glam's new video. You can see how far I've gotten, but yet I'm not that far at all. I'm gonna work on this section and just slowly try to move across, because if I work on the middle too much, then I get my hand stuck, and I'd rather not. And also, there's just a lot more variation in the center, so it will take me a lot longer to do so. So let's see if I can move these edges in for ease of finishing this project. Also, the new Demon Slayer movie, I'm so excited for it. A bunch of my coworkers are already planning on taking the day off for it, and I'm just like, I feel guilty if I do. I'll probably just plan it on Thursday instead, since the day is... because that's my day off anyway. And if I finish my schoolwork really early, I can still go and make it. But I'm also nervous to go alone, because I never go to the movies alone. Can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I think I might invite my grandmother to go with me. She does not watch anime, does not care for it, but she likes to watch movies with me, even if we have a different taste in things. And I know my mom would spend the whole time making fun of my movie choice, so if anything, I know my sister-in-law won't go because, well, Demon Slayer is not that kid-friendly, and she has a child to look after on her own. Because single mother alert. Every man that she's ever been with has been a failure. But it's not like she really has like a good example of what a good man is. I mean, I don't, but I was never looking for one, so I didn't need one. I'm most likely going to end up with a woman who is more like my mother. But then, in essence, they'll also be like me, so it'll be a great match. Something about my best friend that my brother tried to turn us against each other with was she's never asked me for anything. I usually just offer. She actually usually rejects my offers of help. I was like, just pay me back in the future, it doesn't matter. Because I know she doesn't like charity cases. She doesn't want to be one. Shows she's definitely the type of person to always pay people back. I mean, the last time I got her something, she paid me back for it as like almost immediately. Every holiday, we usually get each other like the equivalent of items for each other. I kind of want to get her more clothing, but I also know that she only wears like cotton. And she doesn't like mixed fabrics because they become really sheer on her very quickly. And those items are kind of hard to come by unless you go to like vintage shops. Otherwise, they're kind of pricey. Which is why she ended up starting making her own clothing. But we also want to try to get like a mannequin stand. That's actually what we're saving up for eventually, is when we finally have an ability for us to both have a studio, she'll finally have a place where she can make her items and crafts, and I'll have a place I can record. We both don't want to be surrounded by people who don't care about us personally. Valid, you know? She'll always be my sister. Oh, and something that happened is one of my coworkers finally left. She just started too, and immediately left. It was the same coworker that like my friend was like, "Well, you can flirt with your new gay coworker," and I'm just like, "No, no." But she ended up quitting anyway, so oh clearly everything in fate knew exactly how that was going to go down, and it was just like, no, no. But she left because she couldn't handle the emotional stress of losing her pet. Why would you go into work if you lost a pet? I wouldn't. I would have called out. Anyone would have replaced her on shift. We would have all been a completely understanding, and immediately just comforted her. But I also think she's the type of person who's never had anyone to comfort for her. Because I talked to her and she had some baggage. She had people cheat on her. She's had people use her for money. She doesn't even have much money. She works at a Taco Bell. But it turns out people will use anyone for whatever and whenever. Which is why one of my favorite things to do for people is to give them things. Because I don't want them to feel used. And the necklace I made for my friend, the bottle, the red, like, bloody stuff that I used in it melted and turned into sugar, which got rid of the dye in it. Which means I kind of want to leave this in my window and see what happens. to see if I can potentially improve my design and make it so the red stays red longer without having to add something that wouldn't make it look as like translucent, because blood isn't a solid color. It's not very opaque because there is water in it. My phone fell. That's not fun. Do not do that again. I accepted a morning shift for today. I did tell them that after that week I would be relieved from babysitting duty completely. And I have been. I don't have to bring him in the morning. I don't have to bring him in the night. Which means I get more time to focus on school and existing in my own way and recording videos. I'm so much more comfortable and calm now. I don't have to worry about being late to anything. When I say not worrying about fitting a child into your schedule is so peaceful, I meant it. It's one of the biggest reasons I don't want kids. I mean, I just discussed a whole reason why one of my friends is struggling to schedule their life. Not only with his wife involved. You're supposed to schedule around each other, not against each other. But he saw it as, I need to change my schedule so she can just do this like a whiny little bitch. Instead of seeing it as, we both need to make sure we have enough time for ourselves and for the kids. Oh no, you have to be around your children? Oh no, you gotta be home and you can't just involve them in your own regimen? You can bring the kids along with you anywhere if you teach them how to handle the situation. I mean, my friend brings her kids shopping with her and does her own things, and she tells him no when she doesn't want him to have something. And she tells him why, too. And he listens, because that's what kids do. They are very understanding. Doesn't matter how old they are. I mean, her kid is 5 now. they have slightly younger kids, but even when he was like a 3-year-old, he still was very understanding. Because kids do listen. And they're very understanding. Especially if you explain things to them. They're not just out of control puppies. They know how to listen. They know how to hear. They can follow instructions. They do it all the time. You don't have to give up your dreams when you have kids. You just have to find out how to include your kids in your dreams. I don't want to have to find a way to include any children in my life, which is why I'm never going to have them. And that's honestly probably for the best that me and my ex are now me and my ex. Because I don't like children, but she really wants kids. And I was like, I'll compromise with you about them, but like, I still don't really want to be involved. Even though I know like kids genuinely desperately need constant attention from both parents, which is why I was just like, it's probably for the best that you find someone who would actively be there more than just emotionally, but like physically be around more, physically help out and do things. Which makes me realize I probably will be single forever. Because most women want kids. So, yeah. And I have to say most, because it is most. Not all, because there are people like me. But most women do want kids. I'm not one of them. I don't like them. I think they're little brats. Even if you train them right, they're still just nonsensical. Some people are lovely around them. I was told I'm always very good with children because I'm very honest, straightforward, and descriptive. And I will go into detail and explain why these are the rules. And the thing is, I also make sure with my nephew, though, is that he can question the rules. Because he does ask why, and I'm just like, this is disrespectful sometimes. And I'm like, and sometimes my answer is, I don't know, I just know that your mom doesn't want it. And so I'm just following the rules because I'm afraid of her. And aren't you afraid of your mother? And he's like, yeah. Okay, so then don't do it then. And he's like, fair enough. It's like, I'm afraid of your mother. You're afraid of your mother. We have an understanding that she is a horrifying person. Don't get me wrong. I love my best friend, but is she terrifying? I'm definitely more selective with my words with her. I try to be selective with my words with strangers and people I know anyway, but sometimes if I have a headache, I'm a lot less conservative with my words, and I'm a lot more just loose with the meaning, which means I have to try to explain myself more, and I just don't have the mental capacity to explain myself when I have a migraine. So it's like, you just assumed that I assumed something, and I'm just like, no, this is how it could be perceived. You read it wrong. But, okay. That's why I'm like, ask better questions. Or ask questions. Because everyone's understanding of things is completely different. Five. Do I have more Z's, or is it just this? I do have more. But I'm gonna package more. Good, because I was getting worried. I was running low. I just went pee not too long ago. Why do I have to go pee again? I'm not going to. Don't hold your bladder. It is not healthy, but I'm lazy. One of these should have a Z on it. This one has a Z on it. I also don't like that he assumed that my dad was always a drug addict. He only became a drug addict after he met my stepmom. He only bought fentanyl test strips after he met her. This was a recent development when I was 20 years old. I am now... How old am I? I'm 22. Yeah, I'm 22. Luckily, I'm keeping it written down. Because fuck, why would I forget my own age? I don't have to tell my age very often, that's probably why. It's not just like readily knowledge for me. I went from super nanny videos to dog grooming videos, and I do not know how I ended up here, but I'm enjoying it, so... There was a giant matted spot on my cat's tail that I brushed out with a flea comb. He hated it the entire time, but I was not letting him have matted, sticky fur on his tail. It was very sticky. I do not know what was making it sticky. It was not a... It just looked like fur, but felt sticky. I don't know what made it that way. I just know it was, and it was on the back end of his tail. But I got it off, and then I showed my friend what I was talking about was there was something on his tail, and she didn't do it herself. I did it. And she was like, "Oh my god, you got it off without him running away?" And I was like, well, yeah, if you just kind of do things and explain to the cat why you're doing the things, he will listen. Because the cat, he did stay within reach, and he made it easy for me to get to him the entire time. If there's one thing I know about animals, is that I'm very good at grooming them. For some reason, that is something I can do, is I can get them to sit still and accept that it's just gonna happen anyway. I'm kind of glad I'm good with animals, though. Because I've always loved animals. I recently got my kitty that I live with toys. They're little weapons. One is a saw and it has like lead slider on it. Then there's an axe. God, what were the other two? I can actually find out. They're behind me. There's a knife. A knife. And a cleaver. It's a cleaver. And they're cat toys. Look, the axe. And a knife. A knife. Yeah. And the saw is downstairs with the cat. If there's anything people will know about me is I like cat toys as much as cats like cat toys. So that's something I will willingly admit. It is I find it hilarious. And other people are like, you really are furry. I don't really know the difference between a furry and a therian fully. Because I know I'm not an animal, but sometimes I act like one. I know some people might consider me a therian, but I don't consider myself a therian because I don't feel the connection with being an animal. I just like animals because they're cute and like dressing up as them, because that's the same reason I cosplay, is because I just think things are cute. I love therians though. They're so adorable. Every single therian I've ever seen, their little masks are so pretty. If a therian made me a mask, I would cherish that thing forever. I actually made a rabbit mask for a character of mine. And I feel like she's like the fantasy version of what Etherian really is. Out of all of the things that I've made, I made a character that is unintentionally kind of Etherian. But she can actually shift into another animal. Because you can do whatever you want with a fictional character. Humans have limitations, unfortunately. If I could see a real person turn into a rabbit, though, that'd be pretty cool. When I say there's just a bunch of random variations of color in the face, I meant it. Which is why I say skin color really isn't a color, because every color of skin has multiple different colors involved in it when drawing and painting. Because there's blues, there's grays, there's purples, there's yellows. So when I say there's not one color that can signify a skin color, it makes sense. Because technically, there's too many colors that are in the face that you can't really just signify it to anything. Which is why I find all the people I've ever met so pretty in so many different ways. The skin, the eyes, the variations of color that you can just see sparkle together very shiningly. So I like people with really dark hair because it's so pretty. I know some people are like, it's so plain though, and I'm just like, but it's not. It shines colors that nobody else can really shine. You don't know how many beautiful things can shine and reflect when things are more of a dark color. Darkness reflects so much more and makes life look so much more bright. It's kind of why I don't mind my hair being black and green, because the black makes the green pop more. Green might be my favorite color, but I do love every color very much. Not just with faces, but with hair, with flowers. I love every single variation of everything just as is. Because everything is just so perfect looking. Like, if it was made in any other color, each person and their facial structure, if they were any other shade other than what they naturally are, it would look off. Though I like it when people dye their hair. It's really interesting. I don't like blonde hair that much though, because it just looks kind of boring. It's like they blend into the background and can disappear. They don't really pop out to me. Blonde women are very pretty, sure, but and that's just a preference thing. Pretty, yes. Just not my type. Redheads look very zesty, though. Very pretty. But I will state that my mom is a redhead. But very recently, her hair has been getting darker. But she also dyes her hair now, because she gets a lot of grays. If there's anything I do recommend for people, though, for cats, if there's anything stuck in their fur, just use a flea comb. It will pull it all out with all the shed. It's just kind of efficient. When I brought my dog Shiva to the groomers, 3 people had to hold her in order to clip her nails. And they also got really upset with us, even though I was gonna tip them in cash. I have been doing some of this diamond art off camera, and that's only because when I'm trying to record and waiting for my computer to work, I just do the diamond art anyway. The groomers I took the dog to, though, they were really mean. Like, they were nice at first, and then when we left to get, like, cash instead of change, so that we could give him a better tip, I was gonna give him a $10 tip on a $20 groom. I hope you know. But then they were bitches, so I didn't tip them. Don't treat me like shit if I'm gonna tip you in cash. Because I can change my mind real quick on how much I'm gonna tip. Which I felt like shit about, but like I also felt shit because they treated me like shit. I left the store just to get cash. I went to an ATM. Oh no. They also didn't tell us that we couldn't leave the store. We would have come more prepared if we had an option. I wish clippers were quieter. Because they should be quiet enough to where they still get their job done quickly and efficiently, but so that they don't hurt people with like disability, that like a mental illness. Because autism and ADHD and like other mental illnesses have sensory issues that struggle with surroundings and stuff. Loud noises really bother me and make it hard for me to do things. Anyway, I'm gonna end the video here. Peace, love, have a good day, my fab fans, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!